Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. As always, it's your guy, Coach B, hanging with the A-Team. JR, what's up, buddy?
Ain't nothing much, man. Just hanging in there, watching a little bit of the World Cup and things. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving.
Freddie, what's happening, man?
Pretty good. How you and JR doing?
I'm doing good, man. Like JR said, we can talk about the World Cup a little bit. I'm kind of relieved that we won, and I want to kind of tap in a little bit and see what you guys think about it. First off, right? So, if you're living under a rock and you don't know, USA tied Wales in the first round, 1-1. They had a draw with England that was 0-0, and I was okay with that. And a lot of the I don't know, what do you call them, pundits or whatever you want to call them that are on TV, they was giving the USA some grief. And I'm telling you, England is good, right? I mean,
Yep.
really good. So to hold them to a draw was good. But however, because there was two draws, it meant if we didn't win today,
Go home.
we're out. And today, played against Iran, won 1-0 and advanced to the round of 16. So I'll start with you, JR. I mean, your thoughts on the World Cup so far, but more importantly, how do you feel about the USA getting that W today?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I'm glad they scored first and only, because Iran's a pretty good team. Their coach is known, to be that guy who can put it together. So that was really good. I'm glad they didn't stop. They had one call back because of an offsides, but they held on. That was like what, halfway through the game.
Yeah,
So,
and that's a good point. First off, tip of the cap to Christian Pulisic, who got the goal. I think it was around minute 38, 39, but he hurt himself. I mean, this kid was hustling. He was playing his ass off, ran into the goalie, was hung in there for the rest of the first half, didn't play in the second half. I'll go out on a limb and say if he's not ready by the time we play on Saturday, we're not going to go any further. But to your point, yeah, I mean, you know how it is. You score that early in a match, you got like 50 minutes to go without letting them score. Freddie, did you watch it? Were you following? What were your thoughts on the match?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch. I had an unplanned work call that took place during that time, and then I had to run out really fast. I'm not a big soccer fan, and so I didn't have a lot of interest in it, but I planned to actually watch it.
I know they felt the political atmosphere in that whole game,
Yeah,
especially there was a hit earlier that they were saying, oh, it was bad, and the announcer said no, it was a legal hit. Trying to make something out of nothing. They don't
Right.
need it. So
yeah, and I'm that's got to be tough going back to that point where as a player you got all this pressure. It's a win or go home, and this particular match had some political overtones on it. So that's got to be tough on young guys just trying to get it in, right?
and yes, and one thing, a lot of countries are not like America where you go back and everything is cool. You just lost the game. Some
Right.
countries you go back to, you're in trouble. No, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that's
And
one
well,
of them.
and that's kind of, and I mean that's a good point. That's kind of where I was heading next, was the fact that it seemed to me like some of the commentary that was coming from folks here, like I said, like they were getting on coach, they were getting on the team, and again, we haven't been, how do I phrase this? We haven't been World Cup worthy that long. I'm just gonna put it out there. Other countries in the world that this is the only sport, have been doing this a lot longer. So I think we have to kind of get past this. America's the best at everything. We're not the best at this sport. We
We ain't
are
the best at
better.
math.
Correct. And now we've advanced to the round of 16. So we're making strides. And you know how the sports world is, Freddie. It's no different than the NBA where, Luka Doncic is playing, in the NBA, but who does he play for in the Olympics? You know what I mean? So it's a melting pot of talent in every sport, and you have different nationalities on every team. And I just think that we as a country shouldn't be as critical of this team. Support them, right? Do what you can for them. Want them to go far, but it's some amazing talent out there right now in the World Cup.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely plan to watch. I think one thing that is probably understated is, do a lot of people really know how hard it is to actually score one goal
Dude,
in soccer?
that is a great point. They did a review today before Christian got hurt. The amount of all over, I'm not even talking north south, Freddie, east west, southeast to northwest. The amount of ground you're covering on the pitch, and what it takes. He was exhausted when he got that one to your point, that one goal in there. I've read that they being those that play this sport, football, soccer, are in better shape than most athletes. You agree?
I would
I think
definitely agree, because
that's why
they're constantly moving. It's no like in the NBA. Okay, you can go in the corner and wait
stand
to
there,
pass you the ball, and you can get a little bit of
and that's only 94 feet.
right.
you know
That
what
soccer field ain't no joke.
that's good information. And I tell parents all the time, when I used to instruct, Russ, and they always ask me what's the best sport to join. And I would always tell them soccer to start, because kids build up that hand foot coordination. You got to run and be able to kick the ball in a certain direction, look at a certain person while you're running, while somebody's attacking. It's just a great sport to get your body in a shape for other sports.
And what other sport, JR, do you have to intentionally remind yourself that you can't use your hands?
Yeah.
To catch a ball that's coming right at you.
Unless
right?
you're the goalie. Unless you're the
goalie. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great point. I hope that everybody can take these next few days, rally around the team, get ready for what I hope is a great match Saturday against the Netherlands. As a side note, have either of you guys seen the commercial with Peyton Manning and Beckham?
No, I haven't seen it.
There's a series, if you watch it, I want to say it's sponsored by Lay's, but basically Peyton Manning comes home, Beckham's in his house, right, watching the World Cup and eating his Lay's, and they get into an argument about whether or not it's football or soccer. So if you get a chance to watch the commercial, I'm not going to tell you how it is, but watch the commercial. I think it's pretty cool about whether or not it's called football or soccer. And speaking of football, before we wrap up, I wanted to get particularly your thoughts, Freddie, on the day we're taping is Tuesday, so you got the new rankings for football for the playoffs. Right now, I mean, Georgia held number 1, Michigan number 2, TCU 3, and USC is 4. Any surprises for you in that top 4 now that the regular season is over and everybody's going to their championship rounds? Are you good with that top 4?
The top 4 is Georgia, Michigan,
TCU, and USC.
I don't. All those teams are undefeated. I think what a lot of people are really looking at is, okay,
USC is not undefeated.
Right, USC. But I think, you're correct. I think they lost
1. I don't know who, but I know they're 11-1.
Maybe it was to Utah. I can't remember who they lost to.
I think you're right. Correct. Yep. Going in to Ohio State and beating a 2 seed the way that Michigan beat them, hats off.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? I mean, that is the game. If you know anything about them, it isn't Michigan. It's Michigan, Ohio State.
Yes.
And they went on the road in Ohio State, JR, and just handled them.
Everybody, it's just like everybody thought that was going to be a close game and it's going to be tough and a battle and all of that. Michigan put the hammer down. They just did what they had to do, man.
And I watched a lot of college football over the weekend. I have a problem when so many commentators and others are trying to find a way to weasel Alabama in there, and to Freddie's point about how you win, whatever. They won that. It used to be a time when the Iron Bowl meant something. This meant nothing last weekend. Auburn is trash. They immediately replaced their coach as soon as the game was over, So at some point, can't we just focus on the 4 that are in there? And if it's not a Clemson or Alabama, I'm fine with that. But it was amazing, Freddie, the number of people that were trying to mathematically figure out how we can get Nick Saban and Alabama into the playoffs.
Yeah, it is. They
don't want to let it go.
Last one I got, JR, staying with the NCAA. I'm going to switch over to basketball. Freddie and I be having this conversation all the time about what fool's goal is. So again, on Tuesday, the new rankings come out. So first and foremost, what I want to say, I want to say hats off to Coach Sampson and Houston. Having those cats number one for the first time, I think, since Phi Slamma Jamma is huge. I first met Coach when he was at Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? And Houston plays defense. They get up and down their floor, but I'm telling you, Houston plays defense. So you got any thoughts, JR? Like right now, I'll just give, top four: Houston, Texas, Virginia, Arizona. I want to talk about that number 5 Purdue team because I'm telling you what.
Zach Edey, boy, you better watch him.
I mean, Purdue looks really good. What they did to Gonzaga, handle them by 20, then turn around and beat Duke by 20. Very, very impressive. Your first thoughts on what you've seen?
My first thoughts on what I see is I think they're real. I don't, they're not like fool's gold like we're talking about Minnesota.
You mean like UNC? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean UNC too, huh?
Blasphemy.
I wasn't gonna bring that up last week, right?
I have to bring it up. I got to bring it up because even though I'm not wearing the gear today, it's right here behind me. Y'all know how it is. I see. So I have to eat this crow. I have to eat this crow.
That's where he went to sleep last week. When they lost that game, he came up here with a bottle and he went to sleep back there. But now I think Zach Edey, if he's playing well and stays healthy, I think he's going to that. It's never the guys you think to win the NCAA tournament, and it's always somebody from underneath or it's very rare.
Well,
now.
And that's kind of to that point though. That's honestly when me and Freddie talked about it. We talked about is there really any value in the rankings for the NCAA basketball this early? Nope. I really don't think, and I'm not saying that because we went from number 1 to 18 in a week to 18. We lose one more, Freddie. We lose this week. We have the top 25.
Out. The reason why UNC was ranked number 1 is because they returned 4 of 5 starters from the national championship team that they lost by 6 or 7 or whatever. That is the reason why.
And you can't hold a ranking based on what you did last season.
Year. Exactly. And I think they don't in basketball, college basketball. I don't think because the season is so long.
It is.
I think they don't need to really incorporate rankings until probably December or at least January 1st.
I said mid-January on that. I agree 100%. So that's really all we got time for, Giada. What I wanted to do today was get us an early release, talk a little bit about the USA men's national team in soccer or football, whatever your preference is, and the fact that we're playing on Saturday. So if I have a question of the week, it would be like, how many people plan on watching the USA Netherlands Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern? That's 9 for you, Freddie. 10 a.m. Eastern to catch that game, because I think it's historic that that the USA is in there. I'm very appreciative of them. For those of you that are listening, let us know your thoughts on the team. And if you'll be watching either at Twitter at 15 Good Minutes or right here on YouTube.com/15 Good Minutes. JR, any parting thoughts?
Parting thought is just an honorable mention to Coach Prime doing his thing this year. Not getting enough pub.
Says enough. Okay. So
I don't care. He doing it.
We will talk to you guys next week. Everybody have a good week. Go USA men's national soccer team. We'll talk to you guys later.